YouTube, how's everybody doing? JC here with the Cuban Redneck DIY channel. I want to thank you for stopping by. I want to thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't already done so, please help me grow this channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. So anyhow, over the last couple of weeks, we have been busy setting up a workshop. I can't wait to get this place up and running. I can't wait to start doing some really hardcore DIY projects. Last week we had to take a little deviation to address the cooling. This place gets getting a little bit hot with the temperatures down here in Florida around 95 degrees. But we did get benches done. That video was a little bit on the long side, but I think it was worth it. Even with that, I skipped through a few little things that I wish I would have included. Anyhow, we are back on schedule, and our goal this week is to get lighting up and running. We are going to be using the Harbor Freight 48-inch LED lights. These guys are rated at 5,000 lumens. I am not too pleased with the light frequency. They're rated, I think they're 4,000. It's kind of hard to get information. Actually, depending on which flyer you read, they have different specs. And there are actually no specs on the box in regards to the light frequency. But I can tell you, in an older catalog, it was listed at 4,000, and I can tell you by how they look, that's pretty much it. They're a little bit on the yellow side. But they're bright enough, so I think they will do the job. Originally, I had purchased them to put them under the bench hood here, but they're a little bit too bright and just too fatiguing to be working with all that light in front of you. I think they're better suited to be mounted on the ceiling, and that's what we're going to do. One of the issues with that, it's not an issue, I have an issue with, is the mounting hardware. These things are designed to be mounted. They have this little studs with a hole and a hook, and basically they're designed to be hung with chains. I have a huge issue with that. I don't like it at all. They're always dangling, and if you hit them with anything, let's say you pick up a 2x4 or a fishing rod or something like that, there's a possibility that they could fly off. So I want them fixed mounted. The issue with that, actually, there's several problems with that. Number one, the power cord is coming straight up the top, and trust me when I said I was thinking about just chopping it off and running it out at the end. Set it to leave them in place. They do have a 1-year warranty. And if one goes bad or whatever, we'll figure it out pretty soon because I am going to use them. I am going to leave the chain switch in place, mounting 4 of these guys. And something else that I want to bring to your attention before you jump on them is that they do run a little bit of hot side, so whether putting it near you is really not a good idea. So because of the temperature, because of the cable, I decided to modify my original idea in regards to mounting. The day I bought them, my intention was to use some bus bars at the stud that's here, and just mount them up. After a little bit more examination and having them on for a little bit and figuring out how much heat how hot they get, I decided to isolate them. So what I'm going to do is what I did actually, is I acquired some angle iron brackets and a bunch of these 832 eyebolts. So what I'm going to be doing is sandwiching the eyeball between 2 angle brackets and mounting that up. Now, obviously, the hole here to this one, there's a discrepancy there. So I went out to my box of motorcycle junk, found some silicone tubing, and just happened that this guy fits right on there. I believe aquarium tubing may fit as well. It's about 1/4 inch or so. Another nice thing is that an 832 bolt fits right in there, nice and snug, no rattling, no vibration, so that is a plus. In regards to the electrical part of it, as I said, I was originally thinking of just chopping off the cables the connection at the end. But I decided to leave it in place, and what I'm going to do is just going to put some outlets. I'm going to go into the little helicopter thing in the center of the garage, go to one box, and then come to the other. They're all going to turn on and off with the main light switch, and then I have the little chain switch to manage how many of them I want on. If I'm working on this side of the garage, I don't need the ones on that side on, etc. I purchased 4 of these guys, and I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. This garage is about 15 feet wide, and 25, almost 26 feet deep. So not sure if 4 of them is going to do the trick, but let's get to work, and let's get busy. And I hope that you get some inspiration and some ideas on how to mount this Harbor Freight 48-inch LED lights.
I want to start by apologizing because it was not until the job was complete and I sat down to edit the video that I realized that many of the small clips from the electrical part of the installations were corrupted. Nevertheless, note that this is a pretty straightforward procedure, but it's highly unlikely that my particular electrical setup is applicable to your garage workspace. In my opinion, the takeaway from this video may end up being the mounting of the lights and not the wiring. I started by shutting down the breakers for the garage, and after testing for power, I proceeded to remove the original fixture. As expected, it had terminals to daisy chain another light. I then got into the attic and ran a 14-2 Romex into the existing box. After making the connection to the spare terminal, I proceeded to install the 2 outlets by making symmetrical measurements from the side and front wall. I cut holes for my single gang retro style blue boxes using a cardboard template. With one outlet in place, I then joined both the feed and the extension at the second outlet.
Guys, welcome back. So I was up in the attic doing the wiring, and I kept thinking, should I really be doing a video or giving instructions on electrical wiring? The answer to that is no. I am not a licensed electrician, not pretending to be so, and not here to give you advice on the subject matter. However, my dad is a licensed electrician. My brother's a GC. I've done plenty of work on the different master electricians. And so I'm comfortable doing this type of work. If at any time you are not, it's, you know, just call a licensed electrician, sub that part of the job out, just focus on the installation. With that said, running a parallel outlet to an existing one is really not that much, really not that difficult. And if you are up to the challenge, I would like to give you a few tips. Number 1 is use common sense. Number 2, don't cut any corners. Number 3, obey ratings. Ratings are there for a reason. So I have a 15 amp breaker, so I will be using a 14 gauge cable. I'm going to use, it's called 14-2. This is a Romex. A Romex is a type of cable that does not require conduit or piping. And it is called 14-2, but there are 3 wires in here because one is ground path, and that is what trips the breaker in the event that there is a malfunction. So without a ground path, you can start a fire, the breaker will not pop. In regards to low ratings, what I was referring to is if I'm using a 14 gauge Romex because my breaker is 15 amps. If the breaker was higher than that, I will have to upgrade, I will have to match the cable to that. You do not want to have a cable wiring that is of lower rating than your breaker. So if you have a 30 amp breaker, for example, and you have a 14 gauge wire, if you connect 30 amps to the outlet, the cable will heat up and can actually catch on fire, and the breaker is not going to pop because it's within its tolerance of its rating. So always obey ratings, and other than that, you know, it's really not that difficult, and there are plenty of resources and a lot of YouTube videos by licensed electrician with more information on how to install an outlet. With that said, let's get focused on what we came here to do, and that is to install some shop lighting. All right, so the most important part of this video probably is going to be making the mounting bracket. So what we're going to do is cut a piece of hose at about the thickness or a little bit thicker than the eyeball, roughly about 3/16. Okay, so with that in place, then we're going to take one of the eyeballs. We're going to leave this nut in place because we are going to squeeze it, and so what we're going to do from there is grab one of our screws. These are 3/4 inch 832s. I'm going to put this through here. We're going to put the tubing in place. I'm going to put our eye bolt in place. I'm going to put the second piece in place. I'm going to put another washer. And now we are going to use a nylon washer to hold it in place so it doesn't slip. So we'll hold one side up and we'll just screw it into its firm. Not over time, you just want to screw it to where it's firm. Alright, so there we have it. That's the bracket. We're going to mount this part to the ceiling using this 69-pound anchors. And the light only weighs about 2-3 pounds, so that's more than sufficient. The next thing we need to do is we need to fasten it to the light. To do that, we need to remove these caps. Now, as you can see, this was not really meant to be a serviceable part. These are like throwaways. So the first thing that we need to do, there is a retainer, there's a pressure clip here that we need to push down with a small screwdriver. Once you get that to unhook, then you're going to need a larger blade and just going to make pressure all around until you can get it out. Jiggle it out of place. That comes off. To take off the stud, probably the best thing would be to just take the same screwdriver you have or anything that has a shaft on it and spin this. There's a nut in there you need to hold. There we go. So this is metric, so we're not going to use this. We're going to put it aside. we are going to take our shaft, put it in place.
Okay, with all but one of the brackets in place, it is time to attach our LED lights to the ceiling. As I often do when it comes to repetitive work, I build the jig since it looks like the space between the brackets is pretty consistent. I will use the same jig as a measuring stick to mark where the anchors need to be in relation to the front and side wall. The way the jig works is by hooking onto the shaft of the one bracket I left undone, and that gives me the distance where the holes for the other side need to be. I went ahead and marked, drill, and install all the anchors so that all that I had to do is come back and screw the lights into place. These harbor fade LED lights may not be the brightest, and they may not be the ideal light frequency, but at $20 a piece, they offer great value to anyone looking to improve the lighting system in the garage workspace. Please support this channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thank you.